Opinions stated by various contributors to the Money and Business Show and related programs are not to be considered as endorsed by Radio Shalom, its employees. Visitors to this program are urged to use their own discernment to draw their own conclusions. Please read your prospectus and consult with your own investment advisor.
Live from the studios of Radio Shalom, 1650 AM in Montreal, Canada, the city of Joie de Vivre, the world capital of culinary variety, and the home of the Montreal Canadiens. This is the Money and Business Show with your host, Samuel Ezerzer. Every week, Samuel and his guests discuss money, investments, financial services, and the world economy. Over the next hour, you can have your questions about business and personal finances answered. So call 514-738-4100 extension 200 to speak with Samuel and his guests. And now, here is the host of the Money and Business Show, Samuel Ezerzer.
And now we're going to present Mark Adler, is elected as a member of Parliament of York Centre on May 2nd, 2011. Mark attended the University of Toronto and Graduate School of Public Administration at the Carleton University. Mark worked as a trade representative of Ontario Ministry of Industry, Trade Technology in Boston, Massachusetts, and then as Director of Corporate Programs within the Canadian Institute of International Affairs, where he led a delegation of influential Canadian businessmen and various countries to meet with world leaders and decision makers. He's the first child of Holocaust survivor to ever be elected as an MP. He's a member of the House of Commons Finance Committee and Transport and Infrastructure Committee, and actively represents York Centre residents in the community and in Ottawa as well. How are you? How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing fantastic, Sam. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you very much for taking some time. I'm glad you're on.
So am I. You know, yeah, we're in Finance Committee right now, but I've stepped out for a few minutes so we can have this conversation. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yes, I know, and you know, the economy is on everyone's mind, as you well know, Mark, and Canada is constantly being rated as the best country in the world to do business. What do you think is the Canadian government key to success in attracting business?
Well, you know what the key really is that when this government was elected under the leadership of Prime Minister Stephen Harper, immediately the Prime Minister under Minister Jim Flaherty, the Finance Minister, introduced an economic action plan. And we had a plan from day one to reduce the deficit, to balance the books, and to create economic expansion through low taxation and actually lowering taxes. And when the economic maelstrom hit in 2008 and markets around the world went down and the European sovereign debt crisis took over and the U.S. economy wasn't faring very well, Canada really stood out as a model, and a model of an example of how to really run an economy in the 21st century. You know, our Prime Minister is respected around the world as a great statesman, but also as a great manager of our country's economy. You know, we have achieved the largest number of job creation in the G8. 820,000 net new jobs have been created since July of 2009. We have the lowest corporate tax rate of the G8 at 15%. The OECD, the World Economic Forum, the Forbes magazine have all said Canada is the best place to be doing business right now. We have the strongest economy of the G8. In fact, last week, the OECD said Canada has one of the strongest fundamentals of all G8 countries and should have one of the strongest economic performances of any country over the next 50 years. So Canada is certainly on the right track. And, you know, we're looking forward to the future. Now, having said all of that, Canada is not an island. And, you know, we are affected by what happens in other countries because we are in a global economy. And if the U.S. economy sinks, and, you know, we're only about 30 days away now from the fiscal cliff, and if the President and Congress don't reach a deal, then, you know, we could see the U.S. plunge into recession, and that certainly will have effects on Canada. But we're well positioned pretty much to, you know, to withstand a lot of shocks around the world. But we're very concerned about the U.S. fiscal cliff issue.
I'm sure the whole world, even the global economy, will be hurting if there's no deal in the USA. But a big project, Mark, the government has been promoting is improving financial literacy in Canada. The government is encouraging people to start saving all of a sudden, and for this reason created a tax-free savings account as an incentive. Why is it TFSA, you know, the $5,000 annual contribution limited has increased to $5,500 in 2013?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And, financial literacy is it's very important because people need to know how to manage their money. We're seeing a large amount of personal debt being piled up by people, and that's a dangerous thing. So people really have to learn how to manage their debt, and that's something that's not taught in the schools. And so our government has taken the initiative. We set up a task force under the leadership of Don Stewart, the former CEO of Sun Life Insurance, and he came back and reported back, and there are a number of recommendations that have been implemented. In fact, we're starting to have a financial leader here in Canada that's going to be selected, so we're going to have a financial literacy leader. So financial literacy is going to be one of the most important things going forward for our government. But getting back to in terms of savings, we have created the tax-free savings account, and when we first created that, it was $5,000, and the interest, of course, which would be tax-free. We recently increased that to $5,500, and we did that because the contribution level needs to keep its indexed to the consumer price index, and so. So we don't want people to lose value in their money that they've invested in tax-free savings accounts. So we've increased it to $5,500, and so people can put that in, and the interest on that is tax-free. In fact, it's become a very popular vehicle for saving. Approximately 8.2 million Canadians have an account, and 2.5 million Canadians have contributed the maximum as of last year. So it's a very popular vehicle for Canadians.
Mark, this is Brian Malofsky, the co-host here.
Hi, Brian.
Hello, Mark. First of all, I'm impressed that you beat a legend like Dryden. That's wow. I never thought that would happen. Mark, one of my perceptions is that the government, and yes, I mean, we're if you look at the G20, Canada is doing quite well. Probably among the very best of, unfortunately, a very bad lot. And while you are definitely due some positives for that, my concern is this. It seems to me that the government's economic policy is really based on pulling sludge out of the ground in Alberta, and they really do not have a national plan to develop business and industry from Corner Brook to Victoria to Clayoquot Sound. It seems to me everything is based on Alberta and hoping that the money from that just helps run the entire country.
Yeah. Well, with all due respect, Brian, let me correct your perception. I sit on the Finance Committee, so I get a first-hand look at business across Canada, and we've had a number of business organizations, from the Canadian Federation of Independent Business to boards of trade to chambers of commerce to the Canadian Council of Chief Executives, come before our committee and give testimony. And testimony to say that our policies, yes, we are blessed that we have an abundance of natural resources out west, but our government's policies just aren't focused on natural resource extraction. We have extended the small business hiring tax credit, so more than 500,000 small businesses around the country have taken advantage of that and have hired additional people to work in their small businesses. The shred tax credit, which has led to huge opportunities for innovation and technology expansion, which have led to more people being hired. We have the mining tax credit. Brian, I can go on, but our government is not just focused on on mineral extraction. We have a comprehensive plan that is being implemented right across the country. In fact, from our last budget, we're now refining and modernizing our immigration system because we're facing a labor shortage in this country. And so we are focusing more on getting people into this country that are focused more on the labor demands of our market, because it's not just labor demands out west, but it's labor demands in Ontario, it's labor demands in the east coast of Canada, it's labor demands in British Columbia, and this is for manufacturing, it's for technology, it's for innovative businesses, and it is for the resource sector too. Don't get me wrong, but this is a very well balanced economy we've got in Canada, and the fact that we are blessed with oil and gas, a third largest supply of oil and gas around the world, is not something that we should be negative about. We should be positive about that, and the spin-offs from that are being felt right across the country. So we're not putting all of our eggs in one basket. We're building a new bridge from Windsor to Detroit. Because we have expanded trade with the U.S. $1.5 billion of trade goes across the Canada-U.S. border every single day, and we don't have enough infrastructure. And it's not just oil and gas going across the border; it's manufactured goods, because we are an exporting country. So we've negotiated 9 free trade agreements with countries since 2006. We have 50 others that are right now in the hopper that we're negotiating. So we are spreading this economic expansion right out across the country. We're not putting all of our eggs in one basket, that's for sure.
Mark, just on a quick note, I know you're in the Finance Committee, but just for about 30 seconds left, can you tell us a little bit about what else is keeping you busy in Parliament Hill?
Well, there's plenty.
Plenty, eh?
We just came off of almost a very late night last night voting on the budget. So we hope to have the budget passed this afternoon in the next couple of hours. But there's a lot of things that are going on right now. I mean, we have our work up here, certainly up on Parliament Hill. But when I get back to the riding, we have a lot of events that we go to, and we have about 8 or 10 events a day that we attend in the riding of York Centre, all kinds of ethnocultural events. And Hanukkah is coming up right now.
Yeah,
and so we've got a number of events with Hanukkah and with Christmas. So we go to a lot of different events, and we work at the food bank, and we volunteer there, and we volunteer with Meals on Wheels. And we're out working very hard on behalf of the people of York Centre, certainly in my riding, and we don't really rest until the job gets done. So we're working very, very hard, and on behalf of the people, because that's why they sent me here, and that's why they sent my colleagues here, and we really need to keep our eyes focused on what needs to be done, and what needs to be done for our constituents and for Canada. So we're very busy.
Good. I want to thank you, Mark. Mark Adler, the MP of York Centre. Thank you, and happy Hanukkah, and hopefully you'll get on again.
Happy Hanukkah to you,
and Happy New Year.
Brian, and Happy New Year, and to all of your listeners, to a Happy Hanukkah.
Thanks very much.
Thank you
Mark.
very much.
Good answer. Have a good holiday.
Have a good holiday.
Thank you.
And my name is Samuel Ezerzer for the Money Show, Radio Shalom CJRS 1650 AM in Montreal. We'll be right back in 2 minutes.
Hello, I'm Mark Adler, Member of Parliament for York Centre. I would like to wish all of you who are celebrating Hanukkah a Chag Sameach. Hanukkah marks the triumph of good over evil, of light over darkness, and serves as a reminder to all of us of the importance of standing for justice and freedom. Amid the darkness that still plagues many peoples around the world, Canada's light shines brightly. Our country is a remarkable example of what the Maccabees fought to create thousands of years ago. Canada is a place where people of all faiths and cultures can practice openly and freely, an example to the world of freedom, democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. I would also like to wish those celebrating Christmas a very Merry Christmas. The holidays are a perfect time to be thankful for all we've been blessed with over the past year. May this holiday season be filled with warmth and bring abundant joy to you and your family. On behalf of our Conservative government, and from my family to yours, I wish you a memorable, meaningful, and joyous Christmas and a Chag Hanukkah Sameach.